Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the virtual information session for our Master of Science in Special Education. Tonight we'll be focusing on our mild to moderate disabilities uh, area of interest. My name is Liz Woodward. I work here as a Director of Enrollment Management, and I'm excited to share with you opportunities that this master's program has to offer in preparing you for a rewarding teaching career in special education. Okay, so I'll advance our agenda here. All right, there we go. So this evening we'll cover 7 key areas. Hopefully you can see my screen here. First, we'll introduce you to JHU, Johns Hopkins and School of Education, just a brief bit of background. And then we'll discuss critical career outlook for special educators, special education teachers. Then we'll dive into our program structure, followed by information and pathways to earning your master's degree, including our innovative Set It program. We'll then discuss admissions requirements, timelines, discuss tuition, financial aid opportunities, and finally, at the very end of today's presentation, we'll have an opportunity in using our Q&A function for you to chat with us. We will read your questions and provide answers, hopefully provide answers to all your questions aloud at the end of today's segment. Okay, just a little bit about Johns Hopkins. Johns Hopkins has been America's first research university since our founding. We're 150 years old this year. And this distinction pretty much shapes everything we do at the university. We're both intellectually diverse with more than 24,000 graduate and undergraduate students. And what truly sets us apart is our commitment to research. So for over 40 consecutive years, Johns Hopkins as a university has invested more in research than any other US academic institution. This creates an environment where curiosity drives what we call discovery. And our global focus extends our reach to more than 150 countries, enabling us to conduct research and training and related activities worldwide. Tonight, we'll be focusing on a much smaller segment of that, but as we get started, we can talk a little bit about our interconnectedness here. The strength of Johns Hopkins University lies in our 9 distinct academic divisions that work as one university. You can read the list here, but we have our Bloomberg School of Public Health. You'll see Carey Business School, our School for Advanced International Graduate Studies, of course, the School of Education, which will be our focus this evening, and School of Medicine, and more. This interconnected structure provides our students with unparalleled opportunities for interdisciplinary learning and collaboration. A little bit about the School of Education. School of Education was actually established in 2007. We're among the youngest of the 9 schools. But let me share some quick facts. We serve over 1,000 students with over 109 faculty, and we award approximately 500 degrees annually. We have 10 master's programs, 2 doctorate level, an EDD and a PhD program, and 2 graduate level certificates among our offerings. We have more than 25,000 alumni worldwide, and our student body is represented across 47 different countries. And now, you'll be learning from accomplished faculty who are experts in their field in special education and applied behavior analysis. I wanted to introduce our faculty in special education. Dr. Tamara Martyr, who's not with us this evening, but is our associate professor and graduate director. She's board certified behavior analyst for our applied behavior analysis programs and our severe disabilities concentration area. Dr. Rebecca Cruz, who's with us this evening, and her colleague, Dr. Alexandra Shelton, are assistant professors who bring extensive research and practical experience to special ed classroom and classroom training. All of our faculty are committed to your success and bring real-world expertise to their teaching. So I'd like to introduce Dr. Rebecca Cruz, a little more in depth, one of our outstanding assistant professors and one of our very busy assistant professors here at the School of Education. Dr. Cruz brings both deep scholarly expertise and practical classroom experience to our special education program. Her research focuses on critical issues of equity and justice in special education. She examines disproportionality why certain groups of students are overrepresented in special education and in disciplinary actions, and works to understand the systemic factors behind these disparities. What makes her work particularly innovative is her approach to redefining inclusion itself. And rather than viewing disability as simply as an individual trait, Dr. Cruz examines it as a product of both political, social, and historical practices, helping us understand how systems we create either enable or limit student success. Dr. Cruz's combination of cutting-edge research, commitment to equity, and practical teaching experience makes her invaluable resource to our students and hopefully to you as you prepare to look into your training and a career in special education. So without further delay, I'll hand it over to you, Dr. Cruz.
All right, thank you so much. That was a wonderful introduction. I really appreciate the list of work that I've been working on. A couple of things that I want to point to as we sort of talk a little bit more about the program and what you would experience if you were going to be in our program, is just what our main mission is, which is if you think about the field of special education, there has been a nationwide critical shortage of qualified special educators. That's true here in the state of Maryland. It's true nationwide. And so one of the major sort of points of our program is to make sure that we're training people who have the skills and the supports and the mentorship to be able to go out into the field and persist in the field and remain teaching and providing high quality specialized instruction. So that's our sort of our mission and vision. I'll let you switch the slide here. And with that, we have a focus on mild to moderate disabilities. Although we do have some folks who are from Kennedy Krieger who focus more on students with more severe support needs, but our program is really geared towards those who want to work with students with mild to moderate disabilities. It's an approved MSDE program, so at the end of it, you will have your master's degree plus your certification to teach in the state of Maryland. It's a 39 credit program with 13 courses. It's meant to be completed in a 2-year span. So there are some folks who take a little bit longer. There are some really ambitious folks who want to do it in a shorter amount of time, but it's designed in a cohort model so that everybody that you start with, you'll be taking those courses with the 2-year scope and sequence. So we have 2 different certification tracks that are available. You can either get certified to teach elementary, which is 1 through 8 grades, or secondary, which is grades 6 through 12. You complete 2 supervised internships, and those happen in real classroom settings. In a few slides here, we're going to talk a little bit more about our partnership with Montgomery County Public Schools and how we've got some programming around those who want to continue to work, who already are employed there and want to continue to work there and do their internships in their place of employment. So more on that to come. We offer some specialized coursework around curriculum and instructions, targeting specifically evidence-based math education, evidence-based reading practices, written language, behavior management and support, and transition planning. So all of the typical content that you would need to, like I mentioned, persist and be a high-quality special educator in the field. So next slide. So this is just sort of the sample smattering of coursework that we offer. So you could expect to take characteristics of students with disabilities, applied behavioral programming. That's done in tandem with our functional behavior assessment and applied behavior analysis folks. You would also be taking some specific content and curricular coursework to support students in the classroom. So for instance, this bolded course, spoken and written language, would give you some evidence-based methods to support student literacy and to think about literacy from a really wide lens. So next slide. Another sample course that you would expect to take is career assessment and programming. And what that is just to think about how to make sure you set your students up for success post-graduation. So you'd work on transition planning, helping students launch themselves into career or secondary or graduate, postgraduate work. Next slide. And yeah, that's sort of a sampling of our course offerings, and the scheduling under which that falls is we offer coursework in the summer, the fall, and the spring. Our courses happen in the evenings because most of the students that access our program are working professionals, whether they're already in classrooms as paraprofessionals or um, people who are on emergency credentials and are looking to clear their credential, or if they're just career changers who are in some other field and they're working during the day. Most of our instruction happens online in a synchronous format. So you'll Zoom in with your professor and you'll hold the course session that way. Because we have a lot of folks that are in Montgomery County or in DC or kind of throughout the state, we don't ask students to commute all the way into the Homewood campus, but we are housed in the Baltimore Homewood campus. So there are some courses that are offered online in an asynchronous format. So you may take coursework where you sort of work at your own pace. There are things that, deliverables on your end, and your instructor would sort of communicate with you that way. And like I said, this is we're aiming for a 2-year program. So a couple of the milestones that we would expect you to complete as you go through this program. It's a fairly comprehensive, rigorous program to get through in the 2-year time span. You would need to complete all of the coursework. There are a couple of prerequisites. They're really more like co-requisites, though. So a lot of our students take those courses at community colleges because it's a little more cost effective. We do offer some of them here at Hopkins. You would need to pass the praxis exam, and that is sort of like your content knowledge exam. There's a comprehensive exam that's an internal exam that you would do here that is, again, more of like a content knowledge assessment. And then during your internship year, you would complete a culminating project, which is part of the EdTPA, which is a state mandated practice assessment. So it helps you learn how to sort of teach a lesson, analyze it, look at student work samples, put that all together, and then that's what you would submit to the state for your graduation, for your certification clearance. For those who are not seeking a credential but are just getting a master's degree with us, that is possible. Instead of doing 2 internships, you would just need to do one of those internships and you would do a graduate project, which is sort of like a mini research project. You are able to do that graduate project in addition to the 2 internships if you are getting your certification plus master's. It's not a requirement though. So some people might do that project if they say want to go on and do grad school and they need a writing sample or something like that. So yeah, move on to the next slide. So we have Brittany here. We are lucky to have her expertise here in this special education teacher immersion training program that we offer in partnership with Montgomery County. Dr. Shelton is the contact on our end for this program. But we do offer this 2-way pathway, and I'm going to let Brittany, I'm going to let you talk a little bit about this one.
Absolutely. Thank you, Rebecca. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brittany Rainey. I am the instructional specialist for higher education partnerships with MCPS. And we are very fortunate to be partners with Hopkins for the SETIT program for mild to moderate special education. This is for MCPS employees that are permanent and benefits eligible. So that's very important to just specify. You have to be in a permanent position with MCPS, working 20 hours or more per week to be eligible for this partnership. What is nice is that you move through a cohort with other MCPS support professionals, conditionally certified teachers. So you're all going through the same courses together. And as Rebecca said, you're not going all the way to Baltimore to take these courses, which is kind of nice for us at MCPS. You're going right next door to Laurel. So it's very, very nice. What is also very, very nice about this program is that the internship is a part of your job. So you're not looking to take leave or do anything special like that. You just do your job. So you still get your salary, you still get your benefits. All of that is uninterrupted. And the people who have come through the SETIT program have gone on to become very strong special educators with MCPS. So we personally love to see whenever our employees go through this program. And if you have any questions about your eligibility, your employment, anything on the MCPS side, please feel free to reach out to me.
Next slide. All right, thank you, Brittany. So we talk a little bit now about who the ideal candidate is for this program. If you already have a bachelor's degree and you're seeking a master's degree plus certification, or just a master's degree and you're interested in, research or work in the classroom, that relates to supporting students with disabilities, you have to be able to commit to 2 years of pretty intensive graduate coursework. We say that because a lot of times folks will think, well, if it's a, outside work hours thing, maybe it's like a light lift. This is an intensive graduate program. So you have to be aware of that, that it takes a lot of time management. Um, if you demonstrate all the admissions requirements, which I think Liz will talk a little bit about here in a minute, and you're willing to really put a lot of work into it, then we expect that you get a lot out of it and that you're able to be in the classroom and create some positive, transformative change for your students. So.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Shelton. Thank you, Brittany. I'm going to talk a little bit about the admissions application requirements. It's pretty straightforward. Here is what you will need to apply. First, we do look for a cumulative GPA of a 3.0 on a 4.0 scale for all previously completed degree coursework post-secondary. So that's anything in college. Oops, sorry, going backwards. There we go, college level. We do have a $80 application fee. We do require official transcripts from all post-secondary, all college level institutions attended. So what I like to say is a lot of people maybe have picked up a course at a community college, but their degree is from somewhere else. We need all those original transcripts sent to us as part of your official admissions application package. We do within our online application have a essay or personal statement related to your interest in building your career in teaching and special ed. Everything is uploadable into our online application portal, so that's good. So it all goes to one place. We also require a resume or CV uploaded, and we have asked you to provide 2 letters of recommendation from individuals that have the ability to kind of attest to your ability to read, write, think critically on the graduate level. So I always say to folks, if you have an academic reference, that's great. However, if you've been out of school like me for a long time, those folks may have retired. Two professional letters or recommenders are appropriate as well. We do require a structured interview. Dr. Cruz and Dr. Shelton do ask at least by telephone or Zoom for students just to make sure this is a good fit for you for the program. And finally, we do not require, it's good news, the graduate record examination score as part of our admissions application package. Now, for students that are internationally educated, I will say that on our website, education.jhu.edu, we do have a pretty robust section of instructions for folks. There is an extra step for someone that maybe attended university outside the United States or immigrated here. Our admissions team would be happy to talk to you with any questions that you may have. So I'll leave it there. Talk a little bit about investment. So for our 25-26 academic year, our tuition is $1,140 per credit for both face-to-face and online courses. Our fully online courses, whether they're synchronous or asynchronous, do have an additional $20 tech fee charge per credit. This means that your typical 3-credit course costs about $3,420 for face-to-face and $3,480 for online. There is a $175 registration fee per semester, and I did previously mention that $80 application fee. So for complete information, please visit our website for the most current tuition information. Our tuition does increase annually in the summer semester, so we usually make that announcement in April, and that does come on our website, usually somewhere between 3 and 5%. Now, funding your degree, this is probably everybody's favorite topic. No eyeball rolls, please. But for those of you who have been through undergraduate, you have your bachelor's degree, maybe you have a master's degree, you've been in the field. Everybody's kind of familiar with different ways to pay, but we thought we'd go over those. There's federal loans at the graduate level. It's either a federal unsubsidized loan or a Graduate Plus loan. There are also state grants and scholarships, and Dr. Cruz and Dr. Shelton frequently participate in research at the state grant level, as does Dr. Martyr. Um, Private resources, private loans, employer tuition reimbursement, which you may be eligible for. We do have payment plans, and we do have some institutional scholarships that I'll talk to you about. All of our scholarships on the master's level, folks, are partial, so we do not have full rides or graduate assistantships at this time for master's level degrees. So grants and scholarships, we do have what we call our grouping of scholarships. It's SOE endowed. It's a limited number of partial need-based scholarships. They're available for fall and spring semesters each year. They do require the free application for federal student aid and a short application online. And that endowed scholarship opens, we've opened October 1st. So we're beginning to collect applications, and the deadline to apply for that would be April 1. So I always when I'm talking to prospective students, really encourage you at the time you submit your application to also fill out your FAFSA and complete things like the endowed scholarship as part of your application process. You really have kind of first move advantage the earlier you do these things. We do accept those applications for endowed scholarships up until the 1st. Some people apply late and they're still eligible to get loans, but to kind of reap the full benefits, starting early is preferred. 82% of our master seeking students do borrow some form of federal financial aid. And again, the FAFSA is something you'd have to complete every year. And I already talked about, kind of early advantage of getting in there early and doing that. Very, very important. We do have financial aid counselors, some folks that can give you some personalized guidance. You'll see these are, I call her lovely financial aid ladies here. But not only do they kind of help process your loans, but they help you understand and maximize financial aid. Maybe you're getting partial tuition reimbursement, but they help you understand a budget, a plan, long-term financial planning, and they're available for virtual or phone appointments. So I encourage everyone to, as you're building your plan, applying is one thing, but also coming up with your financial plan on funding is really, really important. So we're here to support you there. I also wanted to take a minute to talk a little bit about our academic and student support services. Even though this program is predominantly online, we do have and this is, again, one of the really compelling things about Hopkins is the kind of access of support services and kind of integrated opportunities for students. Beyond financial aid, we offer comprehensive career services through our integrative learning and life design office, which can help with career planning. We have Center for English Language Education for our multilingual students. We have library services, which provide curated assistance for your research. Hopkins Connect offers mentoring opportunities. And our Office of International Services supports, obviously, students coming from abroad. We provide thorough orientation and new onboarding for students. And that includes for both, kind of account management and billing, financial aid. And we also have a student disability service, which ensures accommodations if needed. We maintain things like an emergency fund for students with unexpected financial crises, and we have a writing center that provides tutoring and writing support in all stages of the writing process. So even if you're studying from afar or you're right around the corner, these are all afforded to you through our Hopkins network. Now we've reached my favorite part of the webinar. It's hearing from our participants. We'd encourage you to please submit your questions through the Zoom Q&A tool on your toolbar. I will answer as many as we can. We do have plenty of time, so don't hesitate to ask about anything, admissions, coursework, career preparation, financial aid, or anything, whatever is on your minds. We'll give everyone a few minutes. But while we're waiting, Dr. Cruz and Brittany, kind of talking through the timeline for SETD applications. What is preferred for students? I know there's a process, as we get closer to the beginning of spring. Maybe you could kind of walk us through how that works from your perspective and why applying early is pretty critical for SETD candidates.
Absolutely. So from the MCPS, and there are a lot of different reasons why applying early is good. Number one, of course, you just want to give yourself as much time as possible to gather all the materials you may need. Every now and then, Hopkins might say, oh, we need this from you. And it's good that you are able to either submit that if it's a document, if it's a prereq you need to take, you can get that out of the way. But from the MCPS side, another important consideration is that there are only a set amount of seats that Montgomery County Public Schools has agreed to pay for. So you want to make sure that you get into a seat while there is still a seat for you. So we just recommend as soon as you can, we know the school year is only going to get busier, to go ahead and apply and just, get started with the program. Dr. Cruz, I don't know if you wanted to add anything from the Hopkins side.
I subscribe to all of those reasons on the Hopkins side too. And I'll just add, we also, a part of the process includes an interview, a Zoom interview with either Dr. Shelton or myself. And it's not, we try and make it as not intimidating as we possibly can, but it does take, some time to schedule. And so just all of the different working pieces that have to kind of come together for your application to be really strong means that getting an early start is just helpful. So we only have one deadline every year. I think, Liz, it's in July.
Yes, we do have later term admissions, but pretty much I think to be considered for SETIT, you do need to get in before the end of that school year. We have what we call rolling admissions and decision making, so we have a lot of time, but for applicants, really, again, to get that kind of first move advantage, as soon as you decide to commit to the process, it is best for you to plan as early as possible. It just gives you more cushion time and room between to negotiate and to kind of learn what you need to do, both on the academic portion, but also in planning the funding part. And I don't think we have any questions. However, I just wanted to go backwards to a slide because, one of the, I think, really standout pieces of this program is the milestones piece for really supporting both the induction and training of teachers. And Dr. Cruz, if you can talk about a little bit in relation to career outlook and shortage, why that's so important in the field today when we're talking about preparation and support for teachers.
Sure. The milestones that we have here are designed in tandem with the Maryland State Department of Education to ensure that you have both the content knowledge and the practical knowledge to go and set foot in a classroom and really lead that classroom from day one. And so we've really embedded all of that practice element of the assessment piece into our internships directly so that you get a lot of support from the instructor that's teaching that course. You have a university supervisor who's watching you teach and giving you feedback. And then there's also a lot of support from the district that you're working on that internship placement with as well. So if you're in MCPS, for instance, they have a pretty robust support team that can support that work too. So I think that's what you were
Yeah,
asking.
I'm sorry. My question was a little convoluted, but always found this particularly impressive because it really does lay out for you all the steps and, in a very intentional way to get you prepared and supported in the classroom. It looks like we have a question coming in from Coral. I am pursuing my MA in special education at Notre Dame, Maryland. I'm interested in the Postmaster's CERT program, and I would like to earn my BCBA credential while I complete my MA. I'm wondering if it's possible to apply to the Postmaster Certificate program now, or if I need to wait until I've completed my MA. If you're completing your MA, it really depends on the date, Coral, that you're going to be doing that. You would have to by the at the point that you are your first semester, the first day of classes would have had to earn that master's degree to be eligible to be in a postmaster's program. But we'd be happy to talk to you about that separately. We also do have a separate series of webinars through Dr. Tammy Martyr, who oversees the ABA program. We'd be happy to talk to you about that separately.
Right. Dr. Martyr is really responsive too. So if you wanted to shoot her an email and just get on her radar, that's always a good idea too.
So okay, Coral, you said that your graduation is next May. So provided and the postmaster's program does accept students into, applications into July, you may be qualified. But I would encourage you to talk to either one of our admissions reps or Dr. Martyr directly about your international student status. Another really excellent question that just came in. It says, just some clarification. You mentioned the classes are mostly online, but Brittany mentioned these classes will be held in Laurel. May you clarify on that, please? That's an excellent question because I know we're in the middle of a transition. So, Dr. Cruz, would you be willing to take a crack at that?
Yeah, I'd happy to clarify. So in up until this coming spring, our we had about half of our courses were face to face, and they happened at the Laurel campus, the Applied Physics Lab. We are in a transition so that that is the last semester that we'll be offering face to face courses. And so the ones that were face to face are transitioning to Zoom courses. So there will be very few times that you'll be asked to come and be somewhere in person in our new iteration of the program. But we are in transition. So if you're talking to alumni and things like that, they may tell you that they did coursework at the Applied Physics Lab in Laurel. So
So just to clarify, so spring will be the last semester that you may be offering some kind of in-person. Okay, thank you. Okay, those are great questions.
But just to continue on this thread though, I think that a lot of a lot of programs that you can access here in the state of Maryland are all online and asynchronous. And so one of the benefits of our program is that you still do have that interface directly with a professor of the course. You still have a lot of support from our faculty because we see you on the Zoom screen. And so, setting aside that time, they'll all happen in the evenings still, but you still have that interaction, which I think is a benefit.
I agree. Brittany, is there anything else about the process that you would like to highlight for students, potentially candidates for SEDIT?
Sure. So something that I neglected to mention, which is very important to know, is just that for any MCPS employees, in order for MCPS to reimburse, you must earn at least, an A or a B on your coursework. Anything lower than that, MCPS will not reimburse. So that's why it's very important that if you run into any issues, we know life gets in the way, please reach out to me, Dr. Shelton, Dr. Cruz, so that we can just help you come up with a plan because we don't want to add additional stress by saying, and now you have to pay all of this money for a course. So I did want to include that. And again, please, if you find yourself in a situation, just reach out so we can avoid that.
Great. And as we kind of look to wrap up here, I'm going to see if we have any other questions and I don't believe we do. I just wanted to include my information as well as my colleague, Eliel Acosta. He's Mr. All Things Special Ed and ABA. He couldn't be with us tonight because he's actually at a recruitment event for teachers, prospective teachers. So I am humbly filling in his shoes. However, he is your direct contact, but I also am happy to answer any questions. I'm very pleased with our long-term, certainly partnership with MCPS, and I'm glad to see SET It continues. I remember when I started 10 years ago, Brittany, I said, "What's this SET It? That's just what an and quickly learned that was one of my first questions of a former colleague that's now retired, who was kind of the advisor for the program for years. So I fondly remember doing some recruiting with her there as well. So okay, so as we wrap up, please stay connected. As I mentioned, LEL and I are available by phone, by email. You can certainly follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and our LinkedIn to hear all the exciting news on the School of Education. And of course, visit our website for more information and those requirements. And thank you so much for your time this evening. We look forward to receiving your application and potentially welcoming you to the School of Education. Good luck with your application. And again, please stay in touch. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you.